What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Celtic Clydesdale Show. I'm Jim, and I am the Celtic Clydesdale. Today's episode, I'm going to dispel some running myths so that people who are just getting into the sport of running or triathlon aren't going to be misled, all right? So let's get right into it. All right, myth number one. You're not a runner unless you run X pace or X miles per week. I hate this myth, all right? It's so untrue. If you run, you're a runner, all right? That's the bottom line. There is no magic pace. There is no magic mileage that makes you a runner. The fact that you get out there and you do it on a regular basis, that's what makes you a runner, all right? I like to show off a little, I guess you could call it a meme, but it's sort of a motivational thing that says whether it's 16 minutes or 6 minutes, a mile is still a mile, all right? 5,280 feet. Whoever's doing it at whatever pace, they're runners. Doesn't matter how fast you're running that mile. If you're running it, and you're a runner, all right? Doesn't matter how often you're running. Really, if you go out and you do it on a regular basis, if you keep at it, and whether your goal is to just stay healthy and stay in shape through running, then that's fine. Or if your goal is to constantly improve and to go from pace A and work yourself to pace B, that's cool too. That's great. But in either case, you're a runner. So, myth dispelled. You're not a runner because you run a particular pace. You're a runner because you run. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, number two. This one is all about you're not a runner unless you have this body type, all right? This is just absolute malarkey, all right? And I despise it, all right? Because look at me. If you saw me out on the street, you know what? Here, let me put a picture up. Yeah, that's me in my first triathlon, all right? That doesn't look like a runner to you, does it? It does to me. You know why? Because I run, all right? I'm a triathlete because I do triathlons, all right? I love the sport of triathlon, and my size has nothing to do with whether or not I'm a triathlete or a runner, all right? I have a little saying. If you look on my Instagram account, which you can see right here, you'll see that it says, when I'm in the water, I'm a swimmer. When I'm on the bike, I'm a cyclist. When I'm on the run, I'm a runner. At the end, I'm a triathlete. And that's the truth, all right? So don't get wrapped up if somebody tells you, oh, you don't look like a runner. Yeah, you do, all right? Because you run. That's what makes you a runner, not your body type. I hate this myth. If anybody tells you that you're not a runner because you don't look like whatever, tell them to stuff it, all right? Let's move on. Number three. This one's kind of a funny one. All runners lose their toenails. No, false. I'll tell you why. If you're losing toenails due to running, it's due to ill-fitting shoes, all right? The mechanism that's causing you to lose your toenails is that your foot is banging up against the forwardmost portion of the inside of your shoe, or the toe box on your shoe is just too narrow and your feet are getting jammed in there, all right? What's causing you to lose your toenails is that action of your toes slamming up against the frontmost part of your shoe, all right? And it's caused by ill-fitting shoes, over-tightened shoes, or just the wrong shoe, all right? It's not a good thing. It shouldn't be, although I've seen it happen. It shouldn't be like a point of pride, all right? It should be a wake-up call to make you go, oh man, I got the wrong shoes, or I'm doing something wrong, all right? It's not a good thing, and it doesn't make you a runner, all right? If somebody tells you you're going to lose your toenails because you're a runner, tell them hogwash, I have the right shoes. Let's move on. Number four, stretching. This one is both a myth and yet not. There is a lot of hearsay that right before a run, you should stretch adequately, and a lot of times you go to a race and you'll see people doing their pre-race stretches, and a lot of those stretches are what's called a static stretch, which is where you apply a stretch to a muscle, say calf stretch, where you're putting tension on your calves for, 15, 20, 30 seconds. And it's a static stretch. You're not getting any motion in there. You're just stretching the muscle. And truth is, before your run, that's actually bad for you, all right? And this is the myth portion of this, is before your run, static stretches, they're kind of bad for you, all right? It shocks your muscles, which unfortunately, and contrary to the whole point of most people stretching to begin with, could lead to injury. And the whole point is to not get injured. So what you should be doing right before a run, and I'll tell you, I'm as guilty as anybody of not doing this, but you should do what are called dynamic stretches. So when you're at a race or something like that, and you see guys doing, they're called butt kickers, where they're doing quick snaps of their feet up against their glutes. Okay, that's a dynamic stretch, and that particular one is for your hamstrings, to get your hamstrings warmed up and ready for the run. All right. Now there's a whole number of dynamic stretches that you can do. The whole point to them is to get your muscles warmed up and ready for the run ahead of you. Go look online. I'll put a couple of links down in the show notes to some stretches that are, real good for, particularly for the glutes, the quads, the hamstrings, different muscles so that you could take these into your routine and have safer runs and reduce your risks of injuries, which is the whole point. So myth part, static stretches, not really good for you before a run, pretty decent for you after a run. And the non-myth part is dynamic stretches help warm your muscles up and get them ready for the run. So pre-run, dynamic stretches are pretty good, all right? So let's go ahead and move on to the last myth. Number 5, I really kind of dislike when I'm having discussions with people, or former runners. They say, oh, I had to quit running because it was bad for my knees. Or when I tell somebody I'm a runner and they're like, oh, isn't that bad for your knees? Or something to that effect. The fact is, running in and of itself is not bad for your knees. If you're having knee problems due to running, all right, the running is not causing the knee problems directly. What's causing the knee problems is you compensating for another issue somewhere else, all right? More often than not, weak hips are going to lead to knee issues. Tight muscles, particularly the IT band and the glutes, going to lead to knee issues, all right? And overuse, so overtraining, right? Let's discuss the first couple, the weak hips, tight muscles, all right? Goes back to myth number 4 a little bit. Some proper pre-run stretches, dynamic stretches, warm up your muscles, all right? So what happens is the muscles around your knees end up not overcompensating for something, which is what leads to knee problems. There's been studies shown that the action of running actually helps your knees and keeps that joint well lubricated, all right, because your body's response to that usage is to build up the lubrication levels at that joint, and it also strengthens the muscles and the tendons around that joint, which is actually good for your knees, not bad. The best thing you can do is make sure you're running with a decent form, not overstriding or trying to do something where your knees are compensating for a weakness elsewhere. Warm up your hips, warm up your both sets of thigh muscles and your IT band, and keep those muscles pretty decently relaxed and fairly flexible, and you will not end up with knee problems, all right? Also, a little bit, if you're having knee issues, not only could it be the tight muscles of the weak hips, it could also be a shoe issue. Perhaps you're running in the entirely wrong shoe. Maybe you need a stability shoe when you have a neutral shoe, or vice versa, all right? Those are usually the things that'll cause knee issues. The running in and of itself directly does not hurt your knees, all right? Now, overuse, overtraining. Lots of people do it. I gave it a shot. in January 2020. It's called streaking, which is basically where you run a mile or more every day. I'll be honest with you. I've known people that have gone thousands of days without missing a single run. And I don't know how they do it, both physically and psychologically. I did it for 30 days, and I gotta be honest with you, by like day 15, it was just, my mind was like, oh, another run. And I rather enjoy running, and to get to the point where it was like, it honestly became a chore. And I didn't like that fact from a mental standpoint. Now, from a physical standpoint, I also felt like I was never getting rested really. And scientifically, running is supposed to help you rest when you take breaks. You can't get that rest if you're constantly going and running every single day. So overuse is going to cause you some knee issues because frankly, your muscles aren't getting time to recuperate from all the running that you're doing, and they break down. And as they break down, they work less efficiently. As soon as your muscles start working less efficiently, other areas have to compensate for that, your knee joints, and problems start occurring. So running is bad for your knees. Total myth, all right? What's bad for your knees is being ill prepared for running, having weak hips, tight muscles, or just overusing the joints, all right? And not giving them any time off from the workouts. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this thing out. So there you have it. 5 myths about running dispelled, all right? If you've got any other myths that you'd like to mention, maybe I could do another episode similar to this with a different set of myths. Hit me down in the comments. Let me know what you think, all right? If you've got any input on the 5 myths that I mentioned here, comments, let me hear about it. Let my other viewers hear about it, all right? Let's get a discussion going on it. That'll be great. In fact, discussions is the best part of doing these videos, all right? So please, get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Now, if you're new to the channel or you just haven't done so yet, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell. Get some notifications so that you know exactly when I upload videos, all right? Also, if you've liked today's video, a thumbs up would be great. If you disliked today's video, although a thumbs down wouldn't be as great, hey, I'll take it. But anyway, that's today's topic. So hope you enjoyed the video. Until the next one, keep on keeping on.